Welcome to episode 37 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. My name is William Fizzpatrick, and oh, there will be so much holiday joy and cheer as we're right in the middle of the Christmas holiday season. Unless your name happens to rhyme with unbreakable, in which case the ginormous sack of coal will be chucked in your general direction. Hope it hits.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, you didn't think we would forget about this particular story, now did you? Welcome to Christmas with the Donner Parties of Pro Wrestling, barbecue style.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, Big Mike, Big Mike, Big Mike.
Come sit around and join us, children. Gather around for a story time.
Yes. And hear the story of how Fizzy and Sal utterly eviscerated a vile scumbag who deserves to be burned at several stakes.
Mm-hmm. Per proper authorization of said stake burning, of course. But yes, this story has been brewing for most of the year. Allegations, words, and whispers of something vile happening in a promotion called Glory Pro Wrestling. Oh boy. You remember a few weeks back, folks, when I said why I seem to be extraordinarily harsh on the independent scene at times compared to, say, WWE? Well, this is one of the reasons why. Sexual harassment. You all know how I feel about sexual harassment, but to clarify for those new viewers who have never seen a Wacky World of Wrestling, I hate sexual harassment. I despise sexual harassment. Sex offenders, rapists, wife beaters, I can't stand them at all. And this situation has the lot of them.
Yeah. So, what happened was Big Mike had one of his students, regulars, whatever, get accused of trying to rape a fan, I believe she was.
Yep.
Yeah, a fan, a regular at his events. She told him about this attempted rape, whatever. Well, not whatever. Attempted rape, attempted sexual assault, harassment. And he pretty much just ignored her. He actually told her, yeah, no, if you're calling to suck my cock, that's fine, but if not, shut up, which in and of itself is sexual harassment. So there you go, big fucking dickhead.
I do believe an actual rape did occur between these two individuals, though.
I don't know. I don't know if the victim has stated that. I don't think she has, but I might have missed it, so I will completely refrain from that. And I am not saying I doubt her. I'm just saying I haven't seen her say that, but I could have completely missed that. So, you know, I'm just saying what I have seen on the Twitters, what I actually know was alleged, and what she said happened to her, which I completely believe, by the way. So
I absolutely believe her as well in this situation.
I'm just like using words like alleged and stuff so we don't get fucking sued. I don't want to get sued here, people.
Of course we don't.
Yeah, so, you know, like, here's the thing. When we say alleged, we're doing this just to cover our asses. We completely believe her side of the story. Now, whether you guys do, we'll leave that up to you. I feel like most of the people we hang out with are good folk who would believe her and wouldn't doubt her because, you know, I think the FBI recently put out a study saying like 98% of all people who claim they've been sexually assaulted are telling the truth. Mainly because lying about it is 1, utterly pointless, 2, highly illegal, and 3, will carry a large prison sentence. So anyone who ever says, oh, they're probably lying, fuck off. Just fuck off. Don't you dare say that. I mean, I'm going to be ranting for a bit today. Not to mention, I mean, getting back to Big Mike. So he denied this. He told her to pretty much fuck off, suck his cock, all that shit, because he's an asshole. So she finally goes public with it, which must have taken a tremendous amount of courage that if I could have the amount of courage that woman had and one pinky that she had in her whole body, or let me put it like this. If I could have the amount of, like, even like 1/100th of the amount of courage she had, I would be a brave, brave man. You know, props to her. I mean, all the props in the world to her, and we should all be supportive of her. And I think many people have been supportive of her. Keywords there. Many people, not all people, just many people.
This is an ongoing situation involving the victim, the person who was the abuser, and the person who covered this up.
Yeah.
Along with several other individuals who, by the way, let's get into the legal details here for a second.
Yep.
You're mandated. If you are a business owner or are in the field of therapy, like, say, psychology, even if you are retired, you are legally mandated via your state law to report on sexual harassment. This is something that is written in the Illinois state law. Laureate Pro is based in Illinois. Big Mike thought it would be a wonderful idea to start his promotion in Illinois. He is also a foreign business owner. He's from Canada. So this case has got a lot of things that could literally, in the legal definition of the word, basically he's boned.
Yep. If he ever tries to move here, he's fucked, because I don't really think a lot of people would want to, you know, give him a green card with this allegations over him. I don't even think they legally could give him one. Two, I mean, even that, this will probably also affect his visas, because again, who the fuck would want to give him a visa when he is accused of covering up a sexual harassment, assault, possible rape?
Yes. If he gets hit with a felony or aggravated felony, he's screwed.
Yep.
His visa, screwed. Green card, screwed. Let's put that in the fire. Just throw that away, because if within 5 years, if Michael Elgin has been in this country for a minimum of, he cannot commit a crime within 5 years of his residency here. Any kind of crime. But the ones that are mandated by that are the ones that are the aggravated variety, as well as, if you look at any crime legal documents, crimes that will make an immigrant deportable. Now, Michael Elgin is technically an immigrant. There are two types of varieties. Moral turpitude under immigration law, crimes of moral turpitude, as well as persons, an aggravated felony.
You cut out a bit there, Fizz.
Yeah. An aggravated felony is the other thing.
Oh, okay.
That's under Section Act INA 10143. It includes such crimes as murder, rape, drugs, firearms trafficking, sexual abuse of a minor, child pornography, money laundering, fraud, tax evasion involving more than $10,000, theft, or violent crime with a sentence in order at least of 1 year. It is irrelevant if it was suspended or if you had to serve part of it. Espionage, sabotage, treason, purgatory with a sentence of at least 1 year or more. That's just the shorthand list of aggravated felonies in that situation.
Then you get into the moral turpitude, which is a lot of vague and nebulous, which would most likely apply to Big Mike. So, yeah, he's boned.
He's going to have issues with the Canadian Border Patrol because, again, he is a professional wrestler. They've had more than enough issues with professional wrestlers over the last few years trying to cross in and out of the border. He's also going to have issues with the United States Border Patrol. He's also going to have issues with the Japanese government if he gets convicted of a felony in this situation. Because, let's face it here, the person who committed the rape or attempted sexual assault, that person is also going to be under heavy scrutiny. This is a person who's under heavy legal investigation for several other incidents involving other women. So, and the people who are also, here's the funny thing, Michael Elgin is trying to sell his promotion.
To his students.
The two patsies are going to have a lot of trouble now because those two, you're now the owners. You are now handed this situation on a silver platter that you now have to deal with in this case. And I don't think you two actually understand just what he's done to you.
Yeah. Not to mention, even if they did buy it, one has to wonder how complicit are they in all of this.
It's also been alleged that he might not have sold it to them. It's all this confusion.
Yeah. And here's the thing we need to keep in mind. A lot of people have been excusing Michael Elgin's behavior. And this is terrible. But, I mean, what is there to say, really? Michael Elgin committed a terrible, terrible thing. He did not take the words of the victim seriously. He tried to overshadow and ignore her words to keep an asshole safe. I mean, I know this will never happen, and I know this people will say I'm taking this way too far, but I feel like if you either sexually assault someone, rape someone, whatever, or you try and cover that up or DM to power the people who have been victimized by it, you should be fucking castrated. Yeah. If you do that, goodness. You should be fucking castrated.
Oh yes. Oh that sounds lovely, Sal. That definitely sounds like
I know
you're gonna. If my mother is listening on this right now, she is going to become a fan of you for saying that.
Yeah, they should. I mean, seriously, what the hell are we doing? I am just so mad. I mean, I know I'm stumbling over my words a lot here, but I am just in a blind, indignant rage at this, especially at the people defending him. Because if you've read our description, Fizzy, always being the masters of titles and descriptions, well, there were a couple of E's we need to talk about today. The first E is Elgin, that motherfucker who will, and part of me really hates this because I used to be a fan of the man until this all dropped. So, I mean, it kind of feels like a betrayal in a way, even though it really isn't. But you know what I mean? You look at a guy, you're like, oh my God, this guy's so cool. He's awesome. And then he does this and you're just like, the fuck are you doing? How could you do this, you asshole?
We thought a few years ago that Michael Elgin had rebounded his life.
Yeah.
We thought that this guy had turned things around because it looked like he was going down a very dark path at some point when he had his issues with Ring of Honor. It turns out, though, that he's decided to double down on the insanity, crazy, and self-control freakism.
Yeah.
This is a person who is very dangerous, by the way, because he is a very large professional wrestler who's very strong and goes with the nickname of Unbreakable.
Yep.
Well, he's not unbreakable. Nope. He's about as brittle as porcelain, actually.
Yep.
And the legal law enforcement that is going to happen in this case, because trust me, he's now in Japan right now in the World Tag League. Oh, and he decided to also try and undermine Jeff Cobb's New Japan contract, apparently.
Yeah.
Talking behind the guy's back. Oh, you decided to talk behind a Pacific Islander's back. Oh, that's a classic blunder there. Your own paranoia and hubris in this situation. You decided to go after the Pacific Islander.
Yeah, not to mention a guy who could easily replace Michael Elgin as a really good guy.
Exactly why he did that.
Of course he did. Because Jeff Cobb can replace Michael Elgin as a big guy who can go in ring. And this, I can't believe I have to identify this as a benefit, but he doesn't have this whole sexual assault thing hanging over his head.
He doesn't have any legal charges. Jeff Cobb doesn't have any legal charges and has been actively supporting this when this came out and when it was found out that Michael Elgin had been conspiring against Jeff Cobb. The thing that you need to remember about New Japan Pro Wrestling, by the way, as far as their contracts are concerned, they restructured their contracts to do 2-year deals.
Yep.
Michael Elgin signed his deal, I believe, what was it, 2015?
I think so, or no? I think they restructured that 2016, January 2016, because that's when they lost AJ and Knock and all them.
Okay, so 2016, 2017.
It will be up at the January 4th Dome show this year. This one coming up, Wrestle Kingdom 12, assuming he signed at that time.
Oh, that explains a few things. That explains it. Michael Elgin's contract's coming up, and with all the legal ramifications that are possibly going to happen, New Japan may revoke his contract or refuse to sign him. Because, okay, New Japan has had a few incidents this year involving their talent. The domestic violence issues with Tomoaki Homa, the alleged affair that happened with Kazuyori Shibata and another woman.
Seidel's whole drug escapades.
Yes, Evan Bourne and his Matt Seidel's / Evan Bourne's drugs escapades that got him banned from Japan.
Yep.
And now this situation involving Michael Elgin, this Canadian wrestler who doesn't bring a lot of value at this point to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And you are certain that certainly the other gaijin have started voicing their opinions of Mr. Elgin.
Of course they have. And any value he does bring, it isn't like there's not someone else who couldn't take his place. Like, again, Jeff Cobb, who I've met in real life at an Evolve show. Really nice guy. Go support him. You know? I'm just gonna say this now. I really hope like no sexual assault scandals come up with him now, because I'll feel like an ass when that happens, even since I just gave him my fucking endorsement. I mean, I'm not saying, if something did happen, then yes, speak up, please. Don't, you know what I mean? I'm just saying. I want to make very clear what I'm saying here. I don't want anyone who has been a victim of sexual assault to stay silent. Please speak up. I will support you. In
addition to the fact that War Machines have also recently voiced their opinion of Mr. Elgin.
Yep. At today's World Tag League, I think it was Raymond Rowe just said, fuck Michael Elgin. God bless you, Rowe. Love War Machine.
The War Machines have voiced their opinion on this. Jeff Cobb has voiced his opinion on this. He went after a Pacific Islander wrestler. I would not be surprised if he ends up missing an arm fairly soon because it got eaten alive.
Oh, come on.
It's like, look, the Tongan wrestlers, Tama Tonga is connected with the Bullet Club. They don't want to lose any sort of momentum with the Bullet Club because of some wacko gaijin having this thing hanging over his head.
Yep.
So Elgin's contract most likely might be up at the January 4th, 2018 show. That's if he hasn't re-signed already, and maybe at this point, New Japan will most likely attempt to get rid of his contract because they're trying to expand into the U.S. over this next year. They already did shows in the U.S. this year. This could be something that could severely affect them going forward because they don't want any negative publicity or negative press about their promotions at this point.
Yeah, no, they don't need that. I mean, all they're getting right now is very good promotion. I don't think Kadani, while he's in the middle of Empire building, needs something like this. So, yes, it's entirely possible that, you know, his contract is up. I don't know when his contract is up, but if it did get restructured at the time period, which it might have, again, I don't know. It could very well be up very, very soon.
I think over the next few weeks, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to Elgin in this situation because, as we stated at the earlier part of the show, Michael Elgin is basically legally boned.
Yeah.
At this point, because he is a foreign business owner owning a promotion in Illinois, a state with very, very high regulations about conduct in the workplace. Now, I'm not sure, like I said, if this applies to private businesses or not, but even so, people should have reported about this. If you're an employee, you should have legally reported this. But again, we're going to talk a little bit about another E that has come up over the last few years that I've noticed and seen. It's called, if anyone's ever familiar with the HBO show Entourage, this is the second E we're going to be talking about. Sal, can you describe the definition of an entourage to the audience?
Yeah, it's pretty much just a bunch of hangers-on around a person. Pretty much total yes men who just go around hyping them up, being like, oh yeah, man, you're awesome, you're this, you're that. You know, they can never do anything wrong. And there's been this culture in pro wrestling Twitter and fandom in general of people who will hang on to wrestlers who they like, who they feel like they cannot be criticized. And I'm not even, I mean, I'm especially talking about it when a huge scandal like this breaks. When something like this happens. You know, the Adam Blampied stuff, who wasn't even a wrestler, but a fucking commentator from fucking What Culture / promoter for What Culture Pro, who had numerous sexual assault allegations against him, and people were still defending him.
Because he had a cult of personality around him.
Yeah, just like Michael Elgin does. All of these wrestlers, well, most of these wrestlers do, unless they have like negative charisma. No, and
Or
people
they're
will
in a
defend them.
situation where it's not financially advisable to be associated with that particular wrestler.
Yeah, but people will defend them,
Yes.
especially when shit like this breaks. And here's the thing: we need to stop defending them. Now, I mean, it's one thing if you don't want to say anything. If you really don't feel like, I guess I want to say, like, me personally, I feel like everyone should be condemning them. But if you're the type of person who really wants to wait for the courts or for like judicial systems or whatever to take its place, fine. Don't say anything then. Stay silent. If you really feel like that way, don't defend them because what they did is indefensible. If there was an allegation, they likely did it because, again, at the top of the hour, like I said, 98% FBI came out. 98% of people who say that, they are telling the truth. And that's just based off their own finding. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually even higher than that. So here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to propose to people. You want to defend sexual assaulters? Okay. Here's what I want you to do. You have to roll a 100-sided die. And if you get anything but a 1 or a 2, you can't defend them. Get a 1 or a 2? Go ahead. I'm still going to condemn the ever-living shit out of you, but then just tell me you rolled that die. And no, I'm not serious with this suggestion. This is me just being a jackass. But seriously, don't fucking defend them.
Yeah, it's a situation where not only are you defending somebody who may be convicted of a crime in this situation, but if you also go after the victim, guess what, kids? You're legally liable in that situation.
Oh, yeah, especially that. And that's the other thing. Don't go after the victim either. Because I saw this, like, oh, no, she's lying. She's this, she's that. Why the fuck would they lie? You're like, oh, because they can get money. Oh, they can invest their career. So you're saying that because, yeah, sure. Could they be doing that? Oh, yeah, sure. You guys never took a philosophy of argument class before. See, here's the thing with philosophies of arguments. You don't look at ulterior motives. That is not how you judge arguments. That is a total red herring move. Whenever you make an argument, you stick to the facts of said argument. And oftentimes the facts will show they are telling the truth.
Logic, evidence.
Facts, logic, evidence, basic human fucking compassion.
Also, the recent advent of a little thing called DNA testing.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I know this is getting very ranty and rambly on my end. Again, you can blame that on my absolute anger and disgust. I just, like, the best way I can put it is I am so morally outraged. I am struggling to find the words. I really am. I don't know how to say this other than we need to be better. So many women this year have finally felt empowered to come forward and speak, to tell of their experiences with sexual assault. And here's the thing. I cannot be happier because of that. I want this shit to change. Time just recently posted as their person of the year all of the people who spoke up who were victims of sexual assault. That was a good step forward, yet there are still people who are trying to keep us backwards, people trying to keep those who would abuse in power, those who have been abused kept down and silenced, and we need to end this. I know this is getting in slightly political, and we try not to do this here, or if we do, we look at it through the vein of wrestling, but seriously, guys, we need to be better. We all need to be better. We need to make sure that when a victim comes out, we give them nothing but support. We need to make sure that they feel empowered to speak out and that when, we just need to make sure that this is an inclusive environment because right now there are a lot of people trying to make sure that wrestling isn't for everyone, that wrestling is only for them.
It's a clique. It's a clique, kids. We are dealing with, once again, yet another clique. People or individuals who are terrified of losing that independent status of, it's our exclusive club and nobody else can come in. Hey, you got to realize something here, kids. You want to know who are some of the biggest crowds in wrestling back in the olden era? And Taker's Minion can vouch for this. Women and children. You want to know how wrestling gets back on its feet on the local independent level? You bring in everybody.
Yeah.
Women, children, families, people who may not be aware of wrestling or haven't watched wrestling in years. That's how you bring an audience into your area, into your community, making that community better. Using that old feeder hall that has barely had like 5-6 events in it in any given year. You know, being able to have people perform on a local wrestling level who can learn and become better at professional wrestling and can advance into this world. But the thing is, there needs to be accountability in these situations. Okay? Sexual harassment is something that's going to drive people away from this situation.
Yeah. And here's the thing. A lot of people are like, oh, I love wrestling. I want to see it get bigger and better. How the fuck can you expect it to get bigger and better if all you do is make it a hostile place where people don't want to be associated with it? You know, how can you say that? You don't. What you want it to be is just for you. And look, I get it. Everyone like wants something to be for them. And here's the thing though, wrestling can be for everyone. That's the beauty about wrestling because it's so diverse. It's one of the reasons why I love anime, because there's so many things that it can be for everyone. You know, it doesn't have to be one thing. I mean, there are promotions that I absolutely love. There are promotions that I absolutely hate. Just like I know a lot of people have their promotions they absolutely love and hate. And we need to make sure that in addition to the promotions that have catered to the varieties of people, we as people need to be able to look at others who might not fit the stereotypical mold of a wrestling fan, you know, and be like, you know what? And if they come out and they're like, oh yeah, I like wrestling, instead of making this such a hostile and unwelcoming place to them, we stick out our hands, we offer our handshake, and we say, hey, that's awesome. Come on in. Let's watch some graphs.
2017 and over the last few years, I've always been incredibly open about introducing people to professional wrestling and helping them understand the history of pro wrestling, the promotions, the different styles, the different people who will perform in the squared circle. People who often talk to me end up considerably more knowledgeable about that subject than when they began. I believe in keeping it open for everybody.
It should be.
It should be. But again, people are going to go into the whole... We're already seeing it right now with this situation where people are attacking other groups of people because of this situation. We're already seeing civil wars in the various different cliquedoms. Here's the thing, kids. Everybody's responsible in this situation, okay? The people from Texas who are yelling at the top of their lungs against the Southerners and Midwesterners, yeah, the clown show booked Mr. 450 for 4 shows in 2017 after he was accused of beating his girlfriend.
Yep. Hell, PCW out in California booked him too, and people were mad, as they should be.
And let's also give a shout out to 2 promotions that acted immediately about this situation. Limitless Wrestling in Maine and Smash Wrestling in California have pulled their bookings of Michael Elgin because both of them understand the severe legal consequences of this situation that may happen over the next several months. Like I said, this is an ongoing situation.
Yeah, mainly because, you know, they're actually decent people who run those shows and realize, hey, you know what? It probably isn't a good idea to have this guy on our show. He's kind of a dick.
Well, you know, the potential of him harassing female wrestling fans at their shows, the potential of bullying and harassing male fans at the show, you know, going after and attacking individuals, that's all a very high possibility with this individual, considering he's highly stressed out at this point and is, at this point, he claimed he's been seeking legal counsel from his teapot, I would assume.
He better be seeking legal counsel.
Yeah, because any lawyer who looks at this case will go, oh, God, you opened the promotion and you're Canadian in the U.S. Oh, this is going to be... This is a legal cobweb of so many things that are about to go so haywire at this point it's amazing that it has gotten to this point. But the entourage culture is one of the reasons why this happened. He felt empowered, another E, to entrap, another E, this individual to keep her quiet about this because it would affect his career. But guess what? It's our Lord and Savior year of 2017, the year where the sexual harassers get launched out of a cannon and splattered across a wall.
Yep. It's a year when women with far more courage than I will ever possess finally said enough is enough, and they took a stand, and I can't be happier.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, if I could ever get 1/100th of the courage they have, I would be a very courageous man.
Mm-hmm.
My hat's off to the victim in this case. I mean, like I said, you are far braver than like 99.99999% of people who have ever lived.
Mm-hmm. You are far braver than any better person in this situation has been. You are providing a fantastic example for those who will follow in your footsteps, those who will go and persecute those who have committed untold amount of sin.
Yep.
This is something that needs to change, and this is, I believe this will be one of the cases that will change professional wrestling for the better. You folks want to wave around with your signs and want to make changes for professional wrestling? Well, this is how it happens.
Yep.
Legal stuff like this, criminal charges like this, cases like this will make professional wrestling better. I get it. I get that there's this whole anarchy side to professional wrestling. There's this whole F the police sort of thing that goes on in many, many promotions and states. But in this situation, bring in law enforcement. Have them do their thing. Do their investigation. Do their trials and possible convictions. Because this case definitely looks like something is going to happen. Yeah. When there's smoke, there is going to certainly be fire.
Yep. Also, just one more last thing on Mr. Elgin. Fuck him for having like that public persona before this whole thing dropped of, hey, you know, we should be supportive of sexual assault victims and all that. While he's doing this, just fuck off, you massive fucking hypocrite.
It's also under false pretenses, which is yet another legal charge that can be added to the massive bucket list of legal charges, by the way. Oh, and by the way as well, next week, our dear friends at Two Guys, One Sport are going to be covering this case. And they're going to have a lot of words about this case. And if you thought that Sal or my words were raging and homicidal, then you've never heard Chris and George talk about things that they are very passionate about.
Oh, yes. We merely borrowed their clubs for this week. We will be returning them to them so they can have them for next week. And if there's one man I know will have an absolute field day bashing the hell out of this man, it is our good friend, Chris Colgan of Two Guys, One Sport. This man will have a fucking field day, and I encourage you all to watch him next week.
Well, I didn't need to borrow his club. I have my own chainsaw.
Well, then I was dual wielding his and George's, so.
So anyway, folks, there's going to be further legal developments in this case over the next couple of weeks, and any updates that will be happening will be covered by those two next week on Two Guys, One Sport, because we're going to be covering Clash of Champions that week, as well as the fact to give Sal some rest here after raging about this horrible, horrible crime.
Yep. And, you know, just again, let's all be supportive of the victims, you know. Seriously, I know I'm preaching to the choir with anyone who listens to this show, because the company I keep on Twitter tend to be very supportive of the victims. I don't think I really follow anyone who has ever denied it. So, you know. Crap. You know who we should have gotten on for this show, though? We should have gotten Duke. I would have loved to hear him rant on this.
Oh, man. Well, Duke and me, you know, we do good podcasting together. I've gone on a couple shows with him, you know, although you've ever gotten the urge to shave off the guy's mustache?
No, that thing is glorious. We need to protect that, Fizzy. What are you talking about?
Just bringing some levity of comedy because of the fact that we just talked about a serious issue. I just said that straight. Like, if they get like, if I remove his mustache of power, will he lose all of his powers?
God, no, we can't do that, Fizz. A mustache like that needs to be treasured. Oh, jeez. But anyway,
but the thing is that I worry about all these independent promotions. I worry about Duke's favorite promotion, Nova Pro. I hope that they take steps to improve themselves over the next year or so. Promotions like Defy, promotions like, well, you know, we've already seen two of these startup indie promotions do reckless, dangerous things. Wrestle Circus, Glory Pro.
Yeah.
Those two did very reckless things at that point, and I go, I mean, we need to be setting good examples for business in professional wrestling, not clown shows, carny acts, and a sex cult.
Yep.
Also want to update as well, all the female trainees from Glory Pro have allegedly left the promotion, and Sal has just dropped out from the broadcast. Oh dear. Looks like his internet connection might have gone out at this point, or have I had any issues with the hang on to see here. Am I still active on the end? Folks, could you go into the chat box over on the YouTube side of things and let me know if I'm still active or not? Or message me, because looks like Sal may have just dropped out. And let me see here. Okay, what is going on? Oh, Sal's back.
Yeah, my internet conked out for a second. Sorry about that, guys.
I was wondering if it was on my end, but thankfully it appears to have just been on Sal's end. Just also wanted to give you an update, if you didn't hear it, that all female students of Glory Pro Wrestling have left the promotion.
Good on them. I respect each and every one of them. They are, again, braver than I ever am. I mean, because, you know, Glory Pro, it provided a job for them, and for them to willingly and go look for work elsewhere instead of taking a secure position to work for that asshole takes a lot of guts.
And Jeff Cobb has just sent out a tweet, real Jeff Cobb, 53 seconds ago, just spreading some aloha love on this amazing experience on this crazy tour. Remember, kiddos, even if doo-doo happens, kill it with kindness. Wine is the aloha spirit. Yep. Or in this case, he's probably going to be chucking him like a stone across the Pacific Ocean. How many times do you think Canadians bounce?
Well, if they're anything like Abominable Snowman from that old Rankin Bask Rudolph thing, we know that Bumbles bounce. So probably a lot. Good Lord, that was a tired and cliched tie-in. I feel like a Mauro Ranallo.
So, yes, the situation with Glory Pro is bad. The situation that happened with Wrestle Circus a few weeks ago was bad. And the situation with ICW was bad. And speaking about Seidel, apparently he had issues with booking with ICW this week on another Donner Party issue. So you're having issues with Matt Seidel, who apparently skipped out on a booking with ICW, which in his case, good, because that promotion is becoming a flaming wreck.
Oh, the words we had for that yesterday, Fizzy.
Oh, yes, I heard a lot of those words. I heard a lot of those words when it wasn't, when the broadcast wasn't spinning around for like 5 seconds at a time for whatever weird reason. Also, quick segue into the whole net neutrality thing. On December 14th, there's going to be some, apparently they're trying to get rid of net neutrality, the FCC is, and that may affect a large number of our podcasting brethren and people involved in the podcasting community.
Yep. It could even potentially affect us. We don't know if it will or not. We hope it doesn't, but, you know, just letting you know, this could potentially affect us. So, you know, we want you guys, if, you know, if at all possible, just take a couple minutes out of your day. You can use something called the Resist bot, which, if you text resist to 50409, it will allow you to direct through a text, send a fax, email, call, whatever, to your senators and your reps, and you can let them know anything in general. But if you want to use it specifically for the net neutrality thing, you can. So yeah, just try and help us keep net neutrality because it's good for everyone. It ensures a free and open internet, and it means that the big internet service providers can't slow down your speeds or charge you more to use certain sites. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's honestly something that's very, very important and something that is going to be like. I think that I honestly feel at this point that net neutrality is going to be safe for now, at least.
I hope so.
Because even these other tech companies are going, wait a minute, what in the heck are you doing?
Yeah, I know. When like Google, Amazon, Netflix, and everyone's like, wait, what the hell? No, stop, you fools!
You've hit the big red button, you fools!
Yeah. I mean, like, the only people in favor of this are like all the cable companies like Comcast, Verizon, Time Warner, and all them, AT&T, mainly because it would make them a lot more money. Plain and simple as that. But, yeah, just, it'd take 5 minutes if you have the time. If you have already, that's great. Keep, you can just ignore our droning, I guess. Although if you want to send another message, it couldn't hurt. I'll probably send one in the next couple days or so. So, like, another one I should say, since I sent one like a couple weeks ago. But that's besides the point.
So yes, after covering the bombshell that was Glory Pro and its issues that are numerous in nature, and covering net neutrality, and of course ICW being idiots once again. I mean, look, they threw a hissy fit about Matt Seidel in a booking, and yet they continued to book Bram.
Yeah. They have no moral high ground. I mean, Matt Seidel's kind of an idiot, but his idiocy is drug use and, destroying his own body, which, I mean...
He's in a time bubble, Sal.
Oh, God. Yeah, remember that story of him going to, like, what was it, like, Peru or something, and, like, thinking he was a puma? I mean, he's not doing good things to his body, but at least he isn't hurting other people,
At least that we know of yet.
Yeah, that's the key word, yet.
You see, here's the thing, folks. Another segue at this point. I don't believe in idols, and that applies heavily in pro wrestling as well. What I have a tier list: like, dislike, indifferent to, or hate, and it applies only to active wrestlers. And I don't get into this whole obsessive need to beloved a professional wrestler because I don't know who that person is. A wrestler named GPA, I believe, who's from the Illinois area, made some very interesting comparisons in this case. He's talked about the whole idol thing. And his one is, I think it's under GPA Thinks, and he did some very interesting posts about this particular subject. Yeah. And he was upset about the situation. And this guy is apparently a very intelligent wrestler. And he primarily works for freelance wrestling, which I hope they're doing their due diligence in the situation. So what he said was, in the wake of the news the last couple days, I really hope that fans and wrestlers in particular are learning the right lessons because there's plenty to take away. One of those lessons is to be very, very careful who you idolize. Pro wrestling is an industry based on false pretenses. Tough guys are weak, beautiful people are ugly, etc. Never allow yourself to be fooled by the images portrayed by the men and women you look up to. Understand that they are real, flawed people before they are anything else. Question everything and everyone, even those you support, especially those you support. Make sure you have a strong grasp on who you are backing before you hitch your wagon to something and declare yourself a blank guy. Leave most of your admiration at professional. If you like the way someone wrestles, cool. If you like someone promos, cool. Leave it at that. Don't base your real life behavior, decisions, or of consequence on what that person would say, do, or think. The cult of personality in wrestling is such a dangerous thing because wrestling is not and never has been a haven for good people. Talent and decency do not go hand in hand in wrestling or anywhere else. Wrestling is a sideshow, always has been. There are wonderful, extraordinary people in wrestling, but there are also plenty of bad ones. And it's a sad reality that a lot of those bad ones have a lot of influence. Money talks over everything in wrestling, and if a guy can generate a few more bucks, he's defied. Defiled. I've had minor disputes with people who hold great influence because of wrestling's cult of personality. I've been vilified by their followings. My guy disagrees with that guy, so F that guy. Cast him out. Those people are awfully quiet today. This was back on December 5th. Yeah. It's fine to appreciate the accomplishments and professional philosophies of people whose work you enjoy, but I hope the last couple of days have taught people to be their own people before they are anyone else's person. Live by your values. Stand by your own 2 feet. There's a lot more to say about the recent revelations, but I'll leave it at that for now. Wrestlers are flawed. Celebrities are flawed. Politicians are flawed. Know that. Know yourself and act accordingly.
Yep. Very good advice to follow.
Really good points.
Yeah, no, very good advice to follow. And I think this is a lot of something. Hell, I'm guilty of this too. I'll often see someone like, oh my God, this guy's awesome. I want to just like listen to everything he says, because, you're really enraptured by them. They're really cool entertainers. And I'll admit, I need to learn this a bit myself. They are flawed. They are human. Someone, it's one of those things where it's like we look at on the TV and we see all the scandals and a lot of people, and there'll be some people who will defend them like, no, they couldn't have done that. They couldn't have done that. They're always this, and this. And it's like, that's what they want you to see. They are people. They are flawed. They are not perfect. So let's just all keep that in mind. Let's, but anyway, after all of that fun stuff, I mean, I guess I don't want to say I had fun bashing Elgin because
it's an intellectual conversation that needed to be had because we are intellectuals in this industry and we want this industry to do better, especially for me in this instance. I would never claim myself to be a person that you should idolize, but because even though I am a good person at heart, I want you to follow your own path and make your own decisions that are good. That are good overall.
Yeah. Oh God, I hope no one fucking idolizes me. I swear too much. Good Lord, I am a flawed human being. If anyone idolizes me, just stop. Please stop now.
We want to make the wrestling world and just this little slice of it a better place overall, folks. Yeah. And this I'd
like to think I'm a decent person, but good Lord, I'm not someone you should idolize.
Suddenly the ants worship Sal. Woo! Literal ants right under his porch.
I am the king of the ants. There we go. I'm fine with that. They can idolize me all they want. But anyway, on to more fun stuff. And I mean, that is in stuff that's actually fun and not anger-inducing.
Who wants to see Samoa Joe kill the beloved Roman Reigns?
Yeah. I didn't watch Raw or SmackDown Live mainly because I was doing a bit of studying for my exams that are next week. Gotta love final season. I'm all anxious and shit. But anyway, yeah. From all the highlights I saw, it was a hell of a Raw. The pay-per-view, the match quality at least was very good, I heard. And from the clips I saw, I can attest to that. Jason Jordan and Roman Reigns opened the show with a very, very, very good match.
Yeah, they opened the show with a very, very good match. It was an extremely good match way to start off the show, along with the fact that Jason Jordan has really developed well into this incredible, obnoxious heel character.
Yeah, he is. They're slow burning his heel turn, but it's obvious that it's coming. And you know what? Credit to Jordan for actually getting good. Well, I don't want to say getting good, but making something that wasn't working work. Do I still think it needs, once they officially do the heel turn, I think we'll see a lot of people come around to him. Because, there are still some people who don't see it yet. And I can understand that. As long as he's still a face, it's going to be there. But the slow burn heel turn, he's actually been getting a lot better at his promos, which is good. His wrestling ability is still as crisp as ever. So, I mean, this was a great way to open Raw. We had Samoa Joe coming out and killing people, which is always a good time. And I am totally here for a Samoa Joe Roman Reigns feud.
Samoa Joe has decided that the beloved Roman Reigns and his shiny thing is something that he wants. He wants the Intercontinental Championship from Roman Reigns, and he wants to destroy Roman Reigns. And then he also wants to destroy that punk kid Jason Jordan as well because he got in his way.
Yeah. I kind of hope Joe does win the IC title, mainly because, he's been doing such good work, and I know he wouldn't win the WWE Universal Championship mainly because of his age and his injuries and stuff. But, you know, I'd like to see him at least get one run with the title for the company because he's been doing so good.
But again, it has to be the right time, right place, and right opportunity in person to do a title switch with Joe.
Yeah, I think they will have him win off of Reigns right before Reigns goes in his feud with Brock at Mania.
Yes. So, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the Beef Jerky Championship of Champions.
Yep. What else happened? Paige defeated Sasha Banks. Oh, well, no, we should probably move on to the main, actually. The Raw Tag Team Championship. Another very good match from what I saw.
Interference by Samoa Joe once again.
Yep. And Roman accidentally cost his boys the match, which will probably be turned into Dean turning heel on Roman, which I'm really not looking forward to. But, you know, and it's mainly because I've really enjoyed Rollins and Ambrose as a tag team, and I really don't get why the hell they reunited the Shield for maybe like all of like, what, 1 month just to split them up again. I mean, I don't get it.
We'll see what the story they do in this situation is. I mean, either they're going to turn Dean heel. Thankfully, they aren't going to be turning Triple R heel at this point.
Yeah, but still, Dean has always been like the most well-liked out of all the Shield guys. So I wonder how well that will go down, but you know, I don't know.
Oh my God! I just thought if they do turn Dean heel, it's going to mean that the fan base of the Roman Empire and the lunatic asylums are going to be clashing one with another, aren't they?
They probably will, yes. So,
Sal, why don't you get us into the next segment here while I go prepare the emergency bunker?
Well, before we get into that, we need to sadly touch on one half of our Raw Tag Team Champions who, well, he has an injury that is potentially career-threatening. He might have spinal stenosis, which is what Edge and Stone Cold Steve Austin had. That forced them to retire.
That would be Sheamus in this situation.
Sheamus has this, and, you know, he potentially has this. I really hope he doesn't. I really hope he can still wrestle. And by that, I mean, I hope he's healthy. I mean, if he has this, please, Sheamus, I love you, man. You've had a great run this past year with Cesaro as the Bar. Just been an incredibly enjoyable tag team. I had you third overall on my Tag Team of the Year awards because you guys have been great. But I want you guys to know, I want you to know that I want you to take care of yourself. I want you to actually be able to walk in 10 years. You know? So, and if he does retire, I will be sad because, again, he's had such a great run with Sheamus. Cesaro. But, you know, hopefully he's fine. But it might be the last we see of Sheamus. And, you know, in hindsight, I know a lot of people have been down at him at some points, and I feel like there's valid reasons to be. But at the end of the day, he actually was a very solid wrestler.
I've always liked Sheamus.
Yeah, sometimes I've liked Sheamus, sometimes I haven't, but he's really grown on me lately. He's a really good brawler, puts on a lot of fun matches. His tag team with Cesaro has been revelatory. I mean, they've just been great together. Plus, he's a Liverpool fan, and I'm a Liverpool fan, so I love that man.
And I'm the kind of person who's doesn't understand the alien world of soccer. It's like basically, it's like listening to an unknown alien language when people start talking about soccer.
Yep.
Like when it's not World Cup season.
Yeah. Oh yeah, with that excellent cross and the volley and the strike, playing mid-back, center back, all that. It's like, wait, what now? I mean, I get the lingo now, but when I heard them just like, wait, he did the what with the who and the where now? But yes, so, you know, we here at Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling wish Sheamus our best. We hope he's okay. Yeah. And those were the two biggest segments. Another thing that happened was Woken Matt Hardy has finally arrived.
Bray, how could you be the sane man in this situation?
Oh, and I mean, look, I love this gimmick. I know you're not a fan of it, Fizz. I absolutely love this. Something I absolutely did love and that was giving me life was that whenever Bray talked, everyone was silent. And whenever Matt talked, everyone was cheering. Thank you, Lord. I love you so much, audience. Giving me life here.
It was the classic split screen gimmick that they've used in like the 1980s and 90s in pro wrestling promos. It's very old school compared to your usual flair of promos, and I like what they're doing so far with this, with Hardy and Bray Wyatt. I think this is a really good pairing from a logical perspective. It's not that I hate the gimmick, it's that usually I'm a big fan of these wacky, insane gimmicks. For instance, I like Decay. You know, but the woken, broken Matt Hardy stuff, I was like, I like these segments, but at the same time, I'm going, it's Matt Hardy.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know, I feel like, and I've talked with a friend of the show, Curtain Jerker, about this. He said, and I feel like this is a good point, like Matt Hardy knows he's old and he can't really go as well as he can in ring anymore. So he's decided to just go full on, like, out there comic goofball, and it's actually getting him over. You know, and I can respect that, you know? I mean, do what you can.
I saw him at a wrestling at one of the independent wrestling shows back, what was it, 2015.
Okay.
I actually saw him in a match. It was an okay match. He basically won. But it was actually a last-minute replacement, because originally this show was Big Time Pro Wrestling in Jamestown, and they were going to have Kevin Nash and Scott Hall at the show.
Let me guess, they no-showed?
Well, Kevin Nash had a very legitimate reason, and so did Scott Hall. Kevin Nash, he contracted a illness.
Oh, okay.
He got a severe illness. I was trying to think of what it was. I think
Pneumonia?
it was the measles.
Jesus, how in the... Get yourself vaccinated, big sexy. Jesus.
Or some kind of illness there. And Scott Hall pulled a bicep while he was training.
Oh, okay.
So those two no-showed, and the replacements were... Well, thankfully they announced replacements last minute. Matt Hardy and Scott Steiner.
Oh my God, yes!
I have seen live a Scott Steiner match.
Did he talk at all? Please tell me he spoke, Fizzy.
No, he didn't cut promos. No, it was a match between him and Pepper Parks, now known as Braxton Stutter. And they brawled around the arena and destroyed one of the merchandise tables.
Awesome.
And Steiner kicked the referee a few times.
Oh man, that's awesome. I wish he would have spoke though, because I love Scott Steiner's rambling promos. I mean, he's a crazy man who I love to listen to, you know? I mean, I know everything he says, like, should make me shudder with fear, but it's like, as long as I know he's just doing it to entertain me and be a crazy man, I'm fine with it.
Keep rambling on, Grandpa.
Yeah, seriously, kind of like the Iron Sheik in that regard. Like, it's like, oh my God, what the hell are you saying? I have no idea, but I love you. So, but
Fun fact about the Iron Sheik that a lot of people don't realize: he actually trained the Olympic wrestling team in the 70s.
I actually did know that. Yeah, he was a very capable amateur wrestler. Wasn't he friends with like the leader of Iran, but he actually had to flee because he was getting like too popular or something?
Yeah, he was friends. He was a bodyguard.
Yeah. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But there you go. Fun facts of wrestling history. You can tell I want to be a history major because of this. Anyway, Paige defeated Sasha by pinfall. And
that small volcanic eruption you're currently hearing is the Sasha Banks fandom going completely ballistic that Paige won.
Yep. This was also a very good match, and it also went really long too. I mean, I can't remember who said it, but this was actually like a sort of pay-per-view style Raw, in that there was a lot of really good matches that went really long. And I was all for it. I mean, the matches themselves were great. We had an IC title match that was awesome. A tag team title match that was awesome. A great women's match. You know, and we had some fun little shorter matches too. It was just a great Raw, I would say, overall.
And the reason for that is that Raw doesn't have a pay-per-view until the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm fine with them doing like longer, bigger, like shows that are more, you know, like heavily stacked with good matches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going like pay-per-view length anyway. You might as well just go all out and make them really long and really fun.
Mm-hmm. Also, Braun Strowman hates music, and he destroyed Elias's guitar.
Oh, that was beautiful. God, I love Braun. Asuka defeated Alicia Fox by submission.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was fun. Fun enough. Nice little squashy sort of match.
Mm-hmm.
And
also Enzo Amore is doomed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go. Drew Gulak is now in a number one contenders match with Rich Swann next week.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew Gulak has been amazing lately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy's been so good.
Mm-hmm. PowerPoint presentations, ladies and gentlemen.
He is so, like, I don't know if I can really say he's over because a lot of the audience doesn't care, but I mean, he's doing some great stuff. He is great on the mic. He can go in ring. I mean, this man is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish, like, I know I've said this a million times, but I wish more people cared about 205 Live because it's actually good.
I care about it.
I know you do. I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, like the general populace.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're saying, be more inclusive, be more inviting, make it for everyone. Come on, guys, 205 Live. It's good. Like it, please.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know. And the final thing that happened was Finn defeated Bo Dallas. So I guess they're not completely giving up on Finn, but I really have no idea what the hell they're doing. So
I think it's understandable in this case, given the fact that Finn did have a very long injury layoff, and they want to just start rebuilding Finn Balor basically from the start here and continue on and see what they can get out of this guy. You know, a nice match with Bo Dallas, nice win. Continues Finn forward. I know people are upset that he's not being included in more storylines, but I think I understand the reasoning behind why they're doing what they're doing.
So that was Raw. Based on the highlights, I saw a very good show. A lot of people really like this show. And the Raw coming up has matches between, give me a minute here. Wrong thread. They have, here we go. This next Raw coming up has a Roman Reigns versus in Cesaro match, a Samoa Joe versus Dean Ambrose match, and a Seth Rollins versus Sheamus match. I guess we're assuming Sheamus is good enough to wrestle, so.
Oh, God, they put Sheamus in a match with Seth Rollins.
Oh, Jesus, God. Oh, God, I just thought about this. Seth, don't do the fucking buckle bomb. The man's back can't take it.
He already had back issues beforehand. That was the last time he had to pull himself out of wrestling for a while, was due to a back injury. Yeah, I'm just like, suddenly, wait a minute, Seth Rollins. I mean, I know Seth's going to try to be more careful, but...
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, on paper, those matches all sound very, very good, so...
So we have Shield guys versus the Enemy. We have the continuing developments between Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan. We have Asuka eating the women's division.
Yep. We have Paige and her stable attacking people.
Paige and her two muscles.
Yep. We have Woken Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt,
who somehow is the sane man in this situation. Bray is the only sane man in this situation of this feud.
Yep. And we have Drew Gulak and the rest of the cruiserweights actually doing good work, but no one caring about, sadly.
Also, there might be a love interest storyline between Nia Jax and Enzo Amore. And my co-host has experienced a 404 error, ladies and gentlemen. Mark that down on your little scorecards to say, how many segments has Sal gone insane over WWE?
It was going so well, too, Fizzy. I was actually giving Raw some praise. It was going so well. Honestly. But, yeah, you know, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of issues still with Raw, but they've at least looked a little better. So.
Hey, look, if this ends with Enzo ending up in a full body cast, that ends up with it being a positive, okay?
Yeah, that's true. You know, I think the biggest thing helping Raw lately is I really don't have any expectations for it at all anymore, which I'm not saying is a good thing because it isn't. You've gotten me to lower my expectations to like -1 million. Like, I consider it a good Raw if I don't leave the show feeling like I'm about to punch a hole in my wall. That's where I'm at right now.
Wait, did I cause that?
I think you have, Fizzy. I blame you for this. Damn it, Fizzy. I used to have standards. Now look at me. But, yeah, you know. And then we had SmackDown, which I also didn't watch live because, again, busy with school and doing a bit of studying for my exams. Because
I'm currently enjoying the wonderful run of diabolical supervillain Mojo Rawley.
Yeah, that breakup, I've watched some of the clips. I've heard that's been going pretty well. We have the continuing Shane Bray story with KO and Sammy. And it looks like Bray and Shane are going to get into this feud, and Bray might be returning to wrestling. I just wonder where the alignments are going to end up, because if their idea is to keep Shane face and Bray turn heel, I know Shane's over with people, and I know a friend of the show, I think it's North of Mars. I just wonder if Daniel Bryan would get booed against a McMahon. I know Shane's over with the crowd. I know people like him.
For what I've been hearing, they want to turn Shane heel.
Okay. I don't know what they're going to do, but if they do turn Shane heel, that would make more sense on paper. If they do like the whole double turn thing, but I'm not sure.
I'm hoping they turn the deranged lawn gnome heel, honestly, but that's just me.
Oh, come on. You don't want them to turn Bray heel, Fizzy. It just wouldn't work. I mean, look, if there's anyone to turn Bray heel against, Shane is probably one of the better choices, but even then, I don't think people would go for it. I just don't. Mainly because Bray has always been seen as sort of the consummate babyface for the past few years. So,
have you seen his heel run?
Excuse me. Yeah, I have, and he can play a very good heel. I've seen his heel runs; they're great. The one he had back in 2011 when he won the World Heavyweight title.
Afterwards, after he lost the World Heavyweight title, it became the psychotic lawn gnome.
No, he's a great heel. I won't deny that. I'm just wondering, he's been a face for so long, and everybody loves him, and he had that whole WrestleMania story. I just wonder, will people really go against him?
I mean, if he's teaming with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, certainly.
Oh, I mean, for you, maybe. For people at large, they like them. I mean, I don't know why people still like Kevin Owens, because he is the very definition of phoning it in. You could hear all about my ranting on that from last night, where we pretty much buried Kevin Owens, just phoning it in and wasting half of AJ's year. You absolute bastard, Kevin. How could you?
Although we are happy to hear about the news about, apparently he's had issues again with social media. Apparently some hacker got into their Instagram account and caused some havoc.
Oh yeah, that's another thing we need to go get on. Look, I'm not saying you absolutely need to fawn in love over all professional wrestlers. What you also shouldn't do is try and go out and destroy their fucking private lives in the public space. Such as hacking into their fucking social media accounts and telling people, oh yeah, hey, this asshole cheated on his wife, when he very much didn't, or apparently very much didn't. I mean, again, is basic human compassion and empathy too much to ask for here?
We live in our year of 2017, Sal. Apparently that is too much for some people, apparently.
God fucking damn it. I'm just, I worry for humanity, and I hate humanity sometimes. And then there are people who do awesome things, and it's like, I love humanity right now, but those times have been so far and few between lately.
Well, honestly, there's been one consistent throughout the entirety of this year.
What's that?
In all honesty, I think that would shockingly be me.
Oh yeah, no, you're constant. Yeah, no, you're constant. I'm just, oh man, but yeah, there's just been a bunch of stuff. What else is going on in SmackDown? Rusev and Aiden English defeating the New Day to get added to the tag team title match.
Also, Rusev has t-shirts now. Rusev Day.
I know, I did like those shirts. And Rusev and Aiden English as a tag team, they've been a lot of fun. I will give them that with Aiden English as Rusev's hype man, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And the tag division on SmackDown continues to be just absolutely stacked, even by losing the Hype Bros. I mean, you've got the Bludgeon Brothers, you still got the Fashion Police, you still got the Ascension, the Usos and the New Day, and then the Usos especially, who are just like the kings of the tag team division.
Also, Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gabe.
Oh, yeah, Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. I was about to get to them. I mean, you know, like I said last night, WWE has had a lot of issues this year, but their tag team divisions have not been one of them. They have done tremendous tag team work, and I have nothing but love for this, for the SmackDown side especially. So, you know, I mean, the Usos are just great. So I am very much looking forward to the tag team title match at Clash of Champions.
And then we have the continuing terror of the Riot Squad versus everybody else.
Yeah, they've been impressive in ring. I know a lot of people have had some issues with Sarah Logan's promos, and I've seen a couple in, they aren't very good. Whoever's writing those for her, can we maybe, I mean, I'm not going to, I don't know what material that is. I mean, I don't know how much A material you have, but we can at least do like a B, please, and stuff like that. F. You know, but whatever. Mojo Rawley, his continued heel run in, his explanation for it, very, very good. Mojo Rawley has proven himself to be a very capable on the mic. He did that when he was able to cut those promos back in May, I think. So before he was forgotten about for so long, and then we finally resumed this. But you know, so Mojo has a lot of potential, and I really feel like he could potentially be like one of their next breakout stars. So,
as long as he doesn't get into a feud with the Powerpuff Girls, I think he'll be fine.
Yep. We also had Ziggler getting added to like a Zack Ryder, or no, Ziggler getting added to who was it?
Corbin and who's the other guy?
Rude.
Okay, Bobby Roode.
Yeah. So you know, I mean, I really didn't care about that match before, and I really still don't care about it.
So we have Ziggy, Corbin, and Bobby Roode added to the United States Championship match for Clash of Champions.
Yeah. It's like someone got 3 people. It's like if someone were to ask me, hey, Sal, give me 3 people who could fight. Give me 2 more people who you on SmackDown's roster that would have to challenge Baron Corbin for the U.S. title. You know? And they took like my last 2 choices. That is what they did. They took my absolute last 2 choices, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. They just decided to take like 3 people who I find absolutely boring. Well, no, my 2 second to last choices, Jinder would definitely be first.
Speaking of Dear Jinder, he's going to have a match against AJ Styles at Clash of Champions, apparently.
Yeah, that match will be what it'll be. AJ was not on this episode of SmackDown, which was a bit of a shame, but you know.
He needed to go find his can of beans.
But yeah, that was SmackDown. Based on the clips I saw, it was all right. There was some good stuff. We also had the Bludgeon Brothers killing a team, but that was fun. I love the squash matches, so you know.
Also, congratulations to Luke Harper. Apparently, his family had a birth of a child.
Hooray! Hey, we have some good news for once on this episode instead of utter dread and hatred. But yeah, so, you know, and Charlotte Flair defeated Tamina in a match I really didn't care for, but, you know, I don't want to be too mean to Tamina. So
Also, Daniel Bryan had a fantastic pre-segment with the Riot Squad.
Yes, where he's all just like, stop, enough.
Stop it!
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was great. So, you know, SmackDown as a whole, it was all right. I mean, I've seen far worse SmackDowns. I've also seen far better, but, you know, like I said, my expectations are now, am I wanting to punch a hole in my wall? No. Okay, then. We're fine.
See, that's what people forget about the Christmas season of wrestling. While those episodes are kind of filler, at the same time, they're also really decent episodes because there's less pressure on the writing team to get things right because Vince is planning his world domination for 2018. He's distracted by something.
Yeah, but, you know, so the week in WWE, Raw was actually pretty good. They had a lot of very good matches. SmackDown, they had some decent stuff, but it was completely missable. next week's Raw on paper has some very good sounding matches, assuming Sheamus can still go. And again, Seth, please, 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 please don't do the buckle bomb or anything that targets Sheamus's back at all. Just like don't even touch his back. Like, don't even touch his torso. Just touch his arms or his legs or his head, but just don't touch his middle. Please, I'm begging you.
And while Sal worships to his wrestling gods to make sure that Sheamus gets for a match with Seth Rollins.
Yeah. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I believe that's about it as far as wrestling is concerned. Wow. Next week, we are going to be covering the previews of Clash of Champions and also some other good news. This is the 30th episode of this revival of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling.
Woo!
When you look at the YouTube playlist for the Revival Edition episodes, which is 2017, and will be updated to 30 episodes after the show is completed.
Yep. So, we always like to have fun here.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we've entertained you. Before we get out of here, we still have our quick plugs to give.
Mm-hmm.
You can check out Two Guys One Sport at their new time of 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. I was a special guest with them yet last night for their year-end show awards.
Mm-hmm.
For the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards. There was many a rant and many a discussion to be had there. We also talked about some more fun stuff, like Tag Teams of the Year and all that. But it was a fun show.
Mm-hmm.
And you can check out our other friends, Shooting the Breeze, tomorrow, Saturdays, at 11 a.m. Eastern?
Yep, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central Time with Taker's Minion and MDS.
Yep.
MDS was a guest on our show about 2 weeks ago to cover for Sal's absence due to him facing a horde of barbarians at his retail store.
Yep. And I think that just about does it for us. You can follow me at Cusmano_Sal.
Mm-hmm. And you can follow me at Fizzpatrick14.
And we'll see you guys next week for a Clash of Champions preview. Hopefully the show will be good.
Also, a new tag match was announced. It's Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Zayn and Owens.
Oh, that'll be pretty good.
Yeah, for SmackDown next week, which will be pretty decent. We want to thank you folks for tuning in on this kind of serious episode of Wacky World of Wrestling, but it had to be said,
Yep. We always have to remember that wrestling will not always be joyous matches and fun angles. There is also this very real and very painful side to it.
And we hope that you enjoyed us talking about Christmas with the Donner Parties of Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
And also stay tuned, folks, for the December 30th edition of Shooting the Breeze, by the way. There'll be an awards show coming up, and suffice to say, there's going to be quite a lot of guest lists on that particular edition of the show.
Yep.
But you're just going to have to tune in to see who's coming on board for that one. But this has been Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling, episode 37, Christmas with the Donner Parties of Pro Wrestling. We hope you've enjoyed today's broadcast, and we'll see you next week for our preview, like we said, of Clash of Champions and whatever happened on Monday Night Raw. And if anything else breaks in the world of professional wrestling.
Yep.
And as we said earlier in the broadcast, go tune in next week for Two Guys One Sport episode. They're also going to be covering the Elgin situation. They didn't have time this week because of the awards observer thing.
Yep. So anyway, you guys all have a good night, and we will see you next week.
Take care, folks. Bye.